It sounds harsh at first, doesn't it? But sit with that for a second. What if the real reason your life feels stuck isn't because things aren't changing, but because you aren't? Not really, not beneath the surface. You're saying new things, maybe even doing new things, but feeling and reacting the exact same way. Different plans, same identity, same results. If you've ever thought, I've done everything, why is nothing working? You're not alone. That silent frustration of wanting more but feeling like you're looping in place, it's not failure, it's feedback. It's the world mirroring the version of you you've been rehearsing without realizing it. And the longer you play that role, the more it hardens into reality. But here's the part no one talks about. You don't need to work harder. You don't need to beg the universe or earn your breakthrough. You just need to shift into the version of you who already lives the life you want, emotionally, energetically, and linguistically. And that shift, it starts with something so subtle, most people miss it entirely. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover how the way you think, speak, and feel about money has been quietly writing your financial reality. And once you see how it works, you can change it. Not slowly, not eventually, but immediately, from the inside out. Ever felt like your life's on pause? Like no matter what you try, nothing moves? That heavy feeling, it's not the universe holding you back. It's you, unknowingly hitting replay on the same internal script. Same thoughts, same moods, same self. It's like trying to watch a new movie but pressing play on the old one again. Life isn't stuck. It's just mirroring the identity you keep choosing. What traps most people isn't failure. It's repetition. Subtle, quiet, familiar. You go to sleep with the same doubts, wake up with the same energy, respond to life with the same emotional tone, and then wonder why nothing's different. You think you're waiting on change, but change is waiting on a new you to show up. No matter how hard you try to manifest, the old identity keeps resetting the game. Take a moment. Think about the way you feel when you check your bank account. The phrases you blurt out without noticing. Money doesn't last and that's too expensive. I can't afford it right now. These aren't just words. They're echoes of the same inner identity being played on repeat. And the outer world, it listens. It copies. Not what you wish, but what you are. So if your life looks stuck, ask yourself, who have I been being? Because the world doesn't shift when you want more. It shifts when you become more. And becoming more doesn't start out there. It starts in here, in the small, quiet ways you talk to yourself. And this is where the real trap hides, in the illusion that you're changing, when deep down, you're staying exactly the same. The scariest thing isn't when life feels chaotic. It's when it feels quiet, but nothing's really changing. You wake up, do your rituals, maybe say your affirmations, but inside, you still feel like you. Same moods, same doubts, same tone in your inner voice. That's the trap. Nothing big needs to go wrong for you to stay stuck. All it takes is staying emotionally loyal to the self you've always been. Most people imagine that change means some dramatic shift, quitting a job, moving cities, winning the lottery. But the real shift, it's invisible. It's when you stop reacting the same way to the same things, when you stop speaking like the old version of you, when you begin catching yourself mid-sentence thinking, wait, who taught me to speak like that? That's the beginning of change. Quiet, subtle, but powerful. And here's the thing, your language is a mirror of your identity. The words you use daily are building bricks of your inner state. If you keep saying things like, I've never been good with money, this always happens to me, or I'm just not that lucky, you're not just talking, you're programming. And most of the time, you don't even notice. That's why some people need help spotting these hidden patterns before they can shift anything at all. Some of the deepest breakthroughs happen when you finally realize your words have been quietly shaping your financial reality. There's actually a resource that helps identify those invisible linguistic habits, the ones that sound harmless but silently block your prosperity. We'll talk more about it soon. But first, let's go deeper into what truly creates your world and why the shift must happen from the inside out. Neville Goddard didn't teach you to chase things. He taught you to become. He said, you become what you assume. That means the world around you doesn't respond to your wishes. It responds to your assumptions. Your inner state is like a projector, and your life is the movie on the wall. Want to change the story? You don't grab the screen. You change the reel. Think about it. If you keep affirming abundance but deep down still feel like someone who's behind, struggling, or not the type to be wealthy, guess which message your reality listens to? The louder one. And it's always the one you feel, not the one you recite. That's why you can spend hours visualizing success and still live in lack, because the identity behind the vision hasn't changed. Neville was clear: imagination creates reality, but only when it's emotionally aligned. You can't just pretend you're abundant. You have to actually feel what that version of you would feel. Walk like them, talk like them, decide like them. That's not faking, that's assuming the state. And when you live in the end, as Neville taught, you stop waiting and start embodying. But here's the catch. Most people set intentions, yet never become the person who receives them. They're trying to manifest new outcomes with an old self-image. And that leads us right into one of the biggest reasons why intentions fail. Even when the desire is real, you've probably set powerful intentions before to attract money, shift your reality, step into abundance. But then, nothing. Days pass, energy fades, and your world stays the same. It's not because you didn't want it enough, it's because your identity, the internal you that runs the show, didn't change. And when the old self stays in charge, no new desire can truly take root. Think of your identity like a container. You can pour the best intentions into it, but if the container is shaped like lack, fear, or doubt, the energy leaks out. You might say, "I am wealthy," but if deep inside you still feel like someone who struggles, that internal vibration blocks it. Your desires hit a wall, not outside, but inside. The identity you live from always overrides the intention you set. And this is where transformation really begins. Some people experience major breakthroughs by replacing just one sentence they've been saying their entire life, like, "I'm not good with money," with a guided, aligned affirmation rooted in a new self-image. It sounds simple, but it's powerful, because when your words start matching your new identity, the shift begins to take hold. There are specific structures that help people rewire this inner language, patterns you've probably been repeating for years without realizing they're holding your abundance hostage. Some have already changed their entire financial story just by shifting the way they speak to themselves. In a moment, I'll show you a tool that can help with this. But first, you need to learn how to spot the hidden loops running inside you. Have you ever caught yourself reacting the same way, to the same problem, over and over? Maybe it's the anxiety when an unexpected bill shows up, or the way you say, "It's always something," when money slips through your fingers. These aren't coincidences, they're clues, repetitions, echoes of the identity you've been unknowingly loyal to. Start paying attention to your emotional habits. Not just your thoughts, but your automatic responses. What happens in your body when someone talks about wealth? What's the first thing you say when you get paid? These are breadcrumbs. They lead straight to the inner self you've been rehearsing for years. And that self is the one manifesting your reality. Neville often said that the world is yourself pushed out. That means the same version of you, the same assumptions, same energy, keeps reflecting itself in the world around you. It's not fate, it's feedback. And once you start seeing these patterns for what they are, you gain the power to interrupt them, because awareness is always the first doorway to change. Most people never stop to ask, "Who am I being right now?" They try to change results without shifting the root. But when you start noticing these feedback loops, not judging them, just observing, you begin to take back creative control. And now that you're seeing the repetition, the real question is, how do you become someone new? Here's the shift most people miss. Becoming someone new is not about changing everything at once. It's about choosing who you want to be and practicing that identity until it becomes natural. Think of it like rehearsing a role, not faking, not pretending, rehearsing, until you're no longer acting, you're embodying. That's how identity shift manifestation actually begins. Start small. Pick a phrase that aligns with the version of you who already has what you desire. For example, "I am financially secure." Now build a simple mental scene where that version of you is living it. Maybe you're checking your account and smiling. Maybe you're paying bills with ease. Whatever it is, feel it. Not like a fantasy, but like a memory. This isn't about daydreaming. It's about building emotional congruence with your new self. The goal isn't to escape the now, it's to recondition it. And some people use a specific method that teaches how to break those old language loops and replace them with phrases of power, affirmations designed to rewire the subconscious and stabilize the new identity. You'd be surprised how quickly your reality begins to shift when your inner dialogue finally supports the version of you you're becoming. The more often you return to that scene, that emotion, that self, the more your nervous system adjusts to it as normal. And the more normal it feels, the faster life responds. But there's one element you must master for this to truly take hold. Neville Goddard said it plainly: feeling is the secret. It's not the words you repeat or the vision board you hang. It's the emotion behind it all that creates. If you say, "I'm wealthy," but deep down feel anxious, unworthy, or fake, your subconscious doesn't hear the words, it hears the fear. That's why emotional congruence is everything in manifestation. Think of it like tuning an instrument. If your thoughts are saying one thing but your feelings are playing another note, the universe responds to the dominant frequency, and it's always the feeling. That's why you need to feel as if it's already done, not because you're tricking life, but because your inner state is the blueprint life follows. But here's the twist. When you slip into old feelings, like shame, guilt, or fear around money, you don't have to spiral. Some people use a specific tool that helps energetically clear the emotional residue after a scarcity-based reaction. It's like emotional hygiene. You clean up the misalignment before it hardens into reality. It's subtle, but it makes all the difference. Because every time you bring your emotions back into alignment, even after slipping, you're reinforcing the new self. And over time, this emotional consistency becomes your new baseline. You don't just think differently, you feel different. And that's when signs of the shift begin to show up. Sometimes the biggest shifts don't come with fireworks, they come with whispers. You'll notice you start saying no to things you used to tolerate. You pause before reacting. You catch yourself thinking, "Wait, I don't feel triggered anymore." These are signs, evidence, clues that your internal identity is changing and your old self is losing its grip. You might start having different thoughts when you see a bill. Instead of panic, you breathe. Instead of "I can't afford this," you think, "How can I expand to meet this?" These are tiny breakthroughs, but they matter because the outside world responds fastest when the inner script has been consistently edited. You don't chase change, you observe it happening through you. Some people even begin noticing strange synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, a shift in how others treat them, or sudden clarity about their next steps. These aren't coincidences. They're reflections of a new energetic signature, and the more congruent you stay with your chosen identity, the more these moments multiply, quietly, powerfully. In fact, there are students who've started keeping their own wealth dictionary, a journal where they rewrite old beliefs and build a library of new language aligned with abundance. They're guided through it, word by word, and the impact is profound. But once you begin to feel different, what happens when the world still looks the same? Here's where most people give up. Too soon. They've shifted internally, started to feel the change, but the world hasn't mirrored it yet. The bank balance still looks the same. The job hasn't improved, and doubt creeps in. Is this really working? But what they don't realize is that physical reality is always delayed. The outer world is just a slow reflection of your consistent inner state. Imagine planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it, tend to it, and trust the process. Identity works the same way. Once you've shifted internally, your job isn't to obsessively watch for proof. It's to remain loyal to the new self, to continue thinking, feeling, and acting from that place, especially when nothing outside seems to support it. This is where your emotional muscle is built. This is where identity becomes unshakable. You keep showing up as the new version, not because you're faking it, but because you've already claimed it. You're not trying to become anymore, you're being. And that beingness is what bends reality over time, quietly, inevitably. You'll know you're close when the urge to go back feels strong, when the doubt whispers louder. That's the final echo of the old self, trying to stay alive. But the truth is, you're not stuck. You're just being invited to finally stop recycling the same self and fully step into the version of you that's been waiting all along. So many people say, "I feel stuck," but stuckness is just repetition wearing a new outfit. What they really mean is, "I've been being the same me, expecting a different world." That version of you, the one built on past memories, inherited beliefs, and emotional reflexes, is not your truth. It's just the most rehearsed role you've ever played. And the moment you stop rehearsing it, everything opens. You don't need to beg the universe. You don't need to prove you're worthy. You just need to become emotionally congruent with the version of you who already receives what you desire. That's not a fantasy. That's a shift in identity. And the world can't help but respond because it always reflects the most stable vibration you're living from. If you've come this far, you already know. This isn't about waiting for a miracle. It's about becoming the miracle. And for those who want to go deeper, there's a complete guide designed to help you unlock this process, to reprogram the words, feelings, and beliefs that shape your financial reality. It's called From Dream to Reality, and it's the next step for anyone ready to activate their inner creator, because you're not stuck, you're powerful. You're just one shift away from a life that feels like freedom. And the more you become that version now, unapologetically, emotionally, repeatedly, the faster life starts bending in your favor. So, are you ready to stop recycling the same self and finally step into who you were always meant to be? So now that you've seen it, really seen it, let me ask you, how much of your financial reality has been shaped not by circumstances, but by the version of you you've been living from? How many dreams have been delayed not by timing, but by a self-image still tethered to the past? What if your breakthroughs aren't waiting out there, but in here, in the silent shifts you make when no one's watching? What if every word you speak, every story you tell, every reaction you repeat is either reinforcing the life you have or unlocking the one you desire? This is where the journey goes deeper. The ebook, From Dream to Reality, was created to guide you through this exact process, identifying the hidden phrases, emotional loops, and identity blocks that have quietly been scripting your financial life. Inside, you'll find the structures, the guided affirmations, and the emotional rewiring tools that turn identity shift from a theory into your new normal. If this message resonated with you, you're not here by accident. Subscribe, turn on notifications, but more than anything, take the next step. Because once you shift your inner world, your outer world has no choice but to follow.